So we'll call the meeting to order. Okay. Roll call.
So Brandon. Here. Storm?
Yeah.
Amy is coming. Patty?
Yeah.
Stephen is not here. Cody? Here. Todd?
Here.
Scott?
Yep.
Caleb?
Here.
Pat is not. Ashley? Here. John is. Vicky?
Here.
Adrian?
Here.
Mark? Paul? Dr. Bombard?
Still muted. Here.
Here, sorry.
And so we do have a quorum.
Okay, so we're going to skip out of order a little bit. We're going to move to personnel. We have 2 vacancies to fill. Cody Thompson's here with us. And Julie Harden was brought up at a prior meeting. All of her materials have been submitted. Clayton County, do you have anything you want to say? No?
Do you need Cody to step back?
Yeah, you want to leave the room for a second? Shut the door behind you? We might let you back in.
You don't make me step out, so. Right.
Oh, yeah, so we have Cody and Julie, both of them. We received all their application materials for. Julie was here last time. Also, we were missing, I think, one of her recommendations or something like that, but we did get that and we got everything from Cody, so and everything with the materials.
Need a motion to accept them?
Yeah.
Make a motion to accept them. I'll second.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Now she's kicked.
Motion is carried.
Yeah.
We're on the record. The time is now 5:03.
We'll now move into the portion of the COA committee report.
We had a hearing on, the public hearing on February 3rd. So we had deemed it complete. The hearing was February 3rd. And we are now ready to do the vote. So if, whatever, we need to do the excuses of people who are conflict and
To declare conflict. And that first then.
yeah.
Yes.
We didn't have a formal committee meeting, mostly because the only person who really responded to me was either Patty or Paul. And they were at the same time, so I could never piece this together as one whole piece so we could kind of get our ducks in a row. But I think that the hearing was pretty straightforward. And the hearing report went up on the Fort Drum website so that you had that to look at. And so I think that we're ready to vote on it.
Is there a motion set forth by the committee?
So I will do a forwarded motion by the committee to vote on the application for expansion of operating territory. A CON for expansion of operating territory.
And this is a motion to approve.
Pardon?
The forwarded motion is to approve.
To approve the vote. No, there's a way we do this vote that's very different. So the yes is no and the no is yes, right?
So, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think the first thing is people say who they are and if they have a conflict, right? then we can also discuss this. We just can't bring any new information to us because the public hearing has taken place. But we can discuss this before we vote on it, which probably is a good idea, I think. So I would first see if there's any conflicts. I guess when is that coming back?
We were discussing this before the meeting and we pulled up 0606. And it says in 0606, the REMSCO shall make its determination by a roll call ballot of the members present
Right.
to accept or reject the recommendation committee. The motion must be made in the form of an approval of the application.
Right, that's, I'm okay with that. Oh, good job. Sometimes it is backwards when we do it, but, like if if the motion from the committee was not to approve it, then it would be backwards to that, but I don't really know.
I don't think we got that far.
I don't think we made a recommendation, so I think,
Okay.
let's see if anybody's got a conflict.
Go through and declare conflicts at this point. Cody,
No conflict.
Patty,
I have no conflict.
Scott,
No conflict.
Storm,
Conflict.
Paul, Ashley,
No conflict.
Caleb, Mark,
No conflict.
Adrian,
No conflict.
Craig. Josie,
No conflict.
no conflict. Tammy, we're doing a roll call for conflict event for the CON for 40 and expansion.
I have no conflict.
Yeah, conflict.
I just asked because I just don't know who the two people in the back are. Or three people in the back. There we go, three.
I'm the assistant, Chauncey Wallace, I'm the assistant chief of the rescue squad.
Okay,
Thomas Noble, chief of 40 Rescue Squad.
Billy Noble, deputy chief.
40 and
40.
okay.
I think it's also when we looked at 0606 earlier, so the approve, based on what it says there, the approval has got to be by a majority of not just the people here, of the potential seats on the council. So there has to be 11 affirmative votes.
Right, because there's 20 seats on the council, so it has to be 11 affirmative votes to get the majority.
How many members do we have here today?
1, 2.
James?
I think 14 people.
Just
Want to make sure we got all the ducks in a row here. Yeah. I'll go first. So did everybody get a chance to look at not only really the public hearing and then the public hearing we got, did everybody get a chance to look at that? Okay. The first, and please take no offense, say that might have given input. First, I was a little surprised, I guess, by the tone of some of the what's the word I want? Not evidence, but commentary to the application. Really, our only job here is to approve need for it, period. Right? We don't need to know it's working with a CO1 or not. No, I went to this area. We just need to show need that. So I just want to make sure that when we looked at the, quite frankly, the notes of the meeting, that's what you came away with, whether or not you thought there was need for this application. Okay? So, that's really my 2 cents on it. I don't know if anybody else had any other thoughts to what came out from the public hearing. Really? Okay.
Anybody else have any discussion?
I have some thoughts just from reviewing some stuff, if the group wouldn't mind taking a moment and listening to what I have to say, even though I'm a new member on the council. I've looked over the application stuff, the public hearing notes. While I didn't read through them all word verbatim, I did skim through enough of them to look for issues or things that stood out to me. Couple of things stood out, like to kind of echo what Patty said, you know, we're here to determine if Ford has demonstrated that there's a need. I know that there were previously issues regarding their application. One of the key points being the territory they were requesting with the first application versus the second application. Looks like the second application has resolved that by specifying just 100 Park Street, Glens Falls, New York, which was what I know previously was a bone of contention. Secondly, I noticed some of one of the letters of opposition from ambulance. And I know previously there have been concerns about the staffing, which I'm not here to mention or talking about. But I will say that I do know from what I have noticed is that I see Ford Ann somewhat regularly up in Plattsburgh transporting patients, while the other CON holders I have not seen up there. I think that ultimately, just by reading things over, that a need has been established, and I know that that's not just my thought. By looking at the hearing officers, Lee Burns, hearing officer, all felt that Ford Ann showed that there was a need and that they have a plan to fill that need. I know that there are other issues that people have mentioned during some time or some conversations. And I don't think that's issues for us to determine for this process. Our job here is solely to determine if there is a need and whether to grant the certificate of expansion to Ford Ann. And while there may be some other issues that people have, I think there are other avenues for that. So in my thought, I feel that a need has been demonstrated.
Does anybody else have any like to discuss? So we have a motion, forwarded motion, correct? From the committee. It comes as a seconded motion. Do you need a second on the motion?
No, it comes forward as a second motion.
It comes forward as seconded. So now we just need to do a roll call vote, correct?
Right. It's my word, Patty. Just do a roll
Yeah.
call vote.
And to clarify that the roll call vote is to vote in favor of granting the expansion, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Just for clarification, and so it's on the record. Thank you.
Thank you. So one last time, does anybody have any other discussion? Okay, we'll move into the vote. So
Brandon,
In favor.
Storm,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Patty,
Yes.
Jody,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Caleb, Ashley.
Yes.
Adrian,
I'm going to abstain.
Mark,
Yes.
Paul, and Vicky.
Yes.
So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. And Cody.
Yes.
13 yes and 1 abstain.
The motion's been carried to grant the expansion of territory for 4 a.m. The appropriate letters will be sent. on that part of it. For the stenographer.
Passes, right?
Yes, it passed, sorry. It passed with 13
Passes.
yes and 1 mistake.
Expansion, 13 yeses and expansion and 1 abstention. So we will, once we get the transcript, it's send that to the state.
Correct.
And that will take care of that.
Off the record? Off the record.
We'll just continue it. You don't mind if we continue?
I don't, as long as I'm not gonna disrupt you guys when I'm packing up. No? Okay.
So we'll just continue with the CON. There is an application that was received from Sylvamo while at Storm.
So,
We've done that a bit.
so Vano is my child. So this is the International Paper Company. They run an ambulance for their paper company. They have about 8 calls a year according to them. And this is a simple transfer from somebody who sold the company to somebody else. And I thought that we had deemed it complete, but apparently we were missing a few pieces like fitness and competency stuff, which I thought the state did, but we do have a couple of people that we don't have resumes
Yeah.
for.
So Dan called me a couple of times on this one. It's getting definitely, this is the second round, definitely getting more complete. Really what it comes, because he, there was documentation in here that fixed some of the problems before,
Right,
that
but
I,
it's not quite complete.
right, so
So
There is-
I've given it back out to the committee. Can I give you one, Patty? Can I give you one? A new one, complete one? There. No. It's your new one. That's the most complete one I have. So it came in 2 pieces. So we originally got an original one, then she filled in some of the gaps. But we are still missing some resumes of some of the officers and stuff. So we'll try and get this cleaned up. And at some point, because we've been at this now since, I think, October, trying to get this done between Christmas and Thanksgiving and Christmas and everything else we have not, and people's vacation, we have not finished this up. So my goal is to try and get it finished up within the next couple of weeks. If we can get it deemed complete and then get our fitness and competencies done, maybe we can get together for a really quick meeting and deem it done. Because I think that there's, like, this is the one that's problematic because it's like, they're not really an ambulance service as we know. Ambulance service, they basically transport their own employees to a hospital if they need to go there. That is their only functionality as an ambulance service. They have a number, so they're a state agency, so we need to go through the same stuff. So the application, when I initially did it, so I made some checklists so we would know whether or not we had all of this stuff complete. And so that's what I'm giving out to the committee now, is so that they can do this. Because a transfer is different than a total CON hearing. All right, totally different thing. And it's should be a little simpler in theory, should be.
So when I talked to Dan, and it really comes down to the fitness and competencies, that you're right, state does do that. Dan needs to have that information in order to prove fitness and competency. He said to me that, they're already all operating as the MERT team. They've been doing this for years and years and years. He's not pulling their certificate. This just needs to be cleaned up.
Yep.
It's that simple. So,
Yeah, so I
There's no
sent
real rush.
Jonathan all of the stuff.
and he even said there's no real rush. We can wait until our next meeting
Okay.
to do this instead of having a special meeting.
All right. So
Yes,
Um,
a storm. So the only thing I'll need from you is the actual fitness and competencies on those additional people that were on that second application. So there's a DOH form and I can't remember the number of it. But as soon as we have that, I can get that submitted over to Dan and it'd be squared away.
Okay, perfect.
And a little bit more back history on the Silvamo thing. So when Joe Farrell was still in the office and handling CONs, Joe had told them, oh, no, don't worry, you don't need to do a transfer for this. And now that Joe is retired and Dan is the one who is now taking over CONs, Dan is cleaning up all the things that Joe shouldn't have said.
Great, thank you. We'll move on to CMAC, SEMSCO, Dr. Bombard.
We have not had a CMAC or a SEMSCO since our last meeting. We were supposed to have one Wednesday, but they apparently had storms downstate. There were snowflakes and things, and it was an emergency, so they canceled them. So no CMAC or SEMSCO report and none forthcoming for a bit.
New York State DOH.
I don't see anyone from the state on. I thought Director Greenberg was going to get on, but it appears he is not.
We'll jump right into the program agency report then.
Okay, Zach, if you want to pull that up. You want to screen share so I know where you are?
Maybe.
All right, let's go right to the first slide, Zach. So the following ALS operating authority renewals were made. This is a seconded motion from the REMAC and just requires a vote from this body. So Dannemora, Champlain, Peru, Warrensburg, Bolton, Franklin County, EMT of CVPH, Keene, both Keenes, and Westport were all approved for 2 years, including the medical director changes for Dr. Daly from Dr. Pond and Dr. Mulvey, respectively. Copper Lake was also approved for a 2-year renewal. Long Lake was given a 3-month extension. Foothills was approved for a 2-year renewal. Fort Covington was also approved for a 2-year renewal. And then the agencies at the end were given a 3-month extension. Anybody have any questions, concerns on that? If not, then you guys need to do a vote.
Make a motion that we approve all of the ones that receive 2-year renewals. I make a motion that we do that.
I'll second.
Okay, we'll go on to the, oh, sorry, go ahead, Vicky.
I didn't know if we need to vote on the 3-month extensions also.
Do you
That
guys
was
typically vote on the 3-month extensions? That's just something that I'm not familiar with, can't remember.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and vote if somebody can make a motion.
Make a motion to accept the 3 months extension.
Thank you.
I'll second it, but I have a discussion point.
Okay.
Not for not, this isn't the first year, or the first cycle that we've had ALS agencies having to renew. The process has been streamlined to the point that we require very little information. How do we have 6 agencies that did not submit their paperwork and not only not submit, but not communication to say, hey, look, running late, we've had a change in officers, I can't get the medical director to sign it. You know, it's a full moon after the third Thursday and something here. You know, and the excuse that, you know, or not the, I don't use the word excuse. The comment that used to be made was, well, if we don't give it to them, then it's gonna cause hardship on the rest of the EMS system. So we're gonna give them an extension until they get their paperwork done. We talk in QA about setting standards. We talk about the clinical standards that we set in education. There's got to be some operational leadership standards that I think we need to enforce here. This wouldn't fly in Remo. This wouldn't fly in 2 or 3 other regions of the state. So not to put that hat on of you being the disciplinarian, but come on, enough is enough. There's 7 or 8 pieces of paper that need to be filled out, submitted, you know, in a timely fashion. And there's got to be some sort of teeth here to say, you know, maybe we do these because don't know any different, but maybe something gets put out in the future that if your paperwork's not in, you're not getting extended, you're getting suspended for the 3 months, and we'll look at it at the next meeting.
And to add to that, Mark, generally these run the same time our state research do.
Yeah.
So all that stuff is like done.
It is, does seem a little odd that
There's a lot of
these people know what they're doing. I know, you know.
I agree.
Not hard.
I was a little bit, I sat in at the REMAC meeting this morning and, you know, I hadn't gone through the paperwork this afternoon. I mean, I went through the paperwork this morning. And when I sat in at the meeting this afternoon, I was like, none of the physicians were concerned about it.
Yeah, they didn't, it was
You
weird.
know, they were like, yeah, let's just extend them and we'll reach back out and give them an opportunity. But I mean, Zach has reached out to them and there's no communication back. I mean, if you want to stay operating, you want to register your car to drive it, you've got to register your car to drive it. Otherwise, there's a penalty, right? I mean, there has to be some sort of follow through.
It's not like the paperwork's not done. No, right? It's done already because you've submitted it to the state.
Well, that's assuming they have.
Right.
There's like, I think it's 4 or 5 different things that don't go to the state. So it's like our medical director form, which is one of them. We asked for their insurance certificate. We asked for, I think it's like 3 months of coverage schedules.
And are these just, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but.
No, you're fine.
But do each of these agencies that have had the 3-month extension for lack of paperwork do they have different things missing? Like one agency is missing the staffing plan and another agency is missing blah, 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 or did they just not submit anything?
So the bottom ones, the bottom 5,
Nothing.
nothing.
Okay.
And then like, so Fort Edward's an extension, but that's just because they didn't have everything, which some of the things that they didn't have were state forms that they would have had to submit for their renewal. So I didn't have them. Yeah. You know, whether they weren't all in the same doc.
Patty, come on. Come on. We love the visit.
You know, if we're.
So
How's it been for work?
Maybe, I mean, it's only Dr. Bumper. Can she offer from a physician medical director's perspective? What are your thoughts on this?
You know, I think that our REMAC physicians are pretty involved. In other groups, I would say the docs just don't care because it's just not really on their desk. But I feel like these physicians, if they are not worrying about the 3-month extensions, they're probably also not worrying about those agencies involved. And this feels more like a paperwork problem to the physicians, and they don't really care about paperwork problems. They care about, like, are they in touch with their agencies or not? So that's me reading between the lines. I don't really know, but there you go.
I mean, do these medical directors even know that these agencies didn't submit or didn't reply? Do they get notified? I mean, I think that that's number one. They should probably be. If they are not, we should include them in any communication when.
Yeah, so they are included, but we finished.
Does always email me anyway. Like if my agencies are coming up for renewal, I always get an email from Zach.
And I will say some have been even reached out. So after they got our email, when we emailed the agencies, a couple even reached out and said, hey, have my agencies turned in their things. So it is interesting. So like West Glens Falls is on here. I will say they had a leadership change at the beginning of the year. So, you know, some of it could be that. I don't know. It's definitely a mix. It's definitely a mix of things. And even like looking at the medical directors, it's a combination of them too. And I will say when we do get the full renewals from agencies, it's not always a full couple of emails back and forth, everything, to be honest. There's very few agencies that actually get everything in the first time.
Can I offer maybe a temporary solution until we can figure something out? Again, like Mark said, not to be the disciplinarian type, but maybe we vote to extend, to allow the 3-month extensions with a letter to go to the agencies saying that there was no communication. We have approved you for a 3-month extension, but going forward, because you have not submitted the communication, we won't be granting another 3-month extension. Is that too much, or is that something that we could do to make sure that that those agencies that aren't doing any communication are trying to get on the ball with things? I mean,
So I will send them all a letter, so we can definitely, I can make it
Right.
strongly worded that it's like a one-time
Definitely.
courtesy.
And then put it else to put in their file, so when this happens next time, we're not so lenient.
I do think that we need to be careful in our wording too, that we say we won't next time. There may be other mitigating circumstances that would, you know, force us to go against that word, and that we would strongly recommend are in jeopardy. This is your third and final notice, not that they will lose whatever, you know, that verbiage. Yeah.
Okay, well, so I think what I'm about to say might make some people mad, and I apologize for that. But this is actually something that Director Greenberg has said to me. He called me after the REMAC meeting. So while regions, REMACs, and REMSCOs have the regulatory authority to approve ALS agencies, the continuation of that service, they do not have regulatory authority over. That regulatory authority rests with the state. So if the state wants to come in and take somebody's ALS operating authority away, the state can do that. A region cannot. And that was, I'm saying it nicer than what Ryan said it to me. So in the wording for this, we have to be very careful, because if somebody wanted to take it to the state is going to back them, because that's just how the regs are.
So then
I
why do
do-
we bother to do renewals anyway then? Then why bother do it? It's duplication.
Then why are we doing it? Yeah, that would be my question.
I don't know. I'm just
Difference
telling
between-
you what I was told.
would there be a difference between saying we revoking your operating authority versus your operating authority has expired? Because that's essentially what's happening is if these agencies aren't doing their paperwork and we're not granting the extension, their operating authority has expired. We're not revoking it. It's just expired.
No, they're in jeopardy of a state, and I think
Right.
that's the delineation that he's making.
Yes,
So
because
this would be-
when they renew their operating authority at the state level, they're not renewing it at a BLS level and then getting regional approval again as an ALS agency. They're renewing themselves at the state level as an ALS entity. And that's where the state is saying that they have the authority and the regions don't.
So help me with, so you submit your paperwork the first time you get approved as an ALS agency, and you list all of those things that you want to do, right? Like the BLS stuff and the ALS stuff and all of those things that your medical director approves you to do. And then it continues forward irregardless of what we say, right? Because the state governs that, but they don't get that form. Am I right? Zach, they don't get that form.
Yeah, they do.
They do?
Part of the renewal.
We're up a whole
Yeah,
bunch of things.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yes,
let's forget
We're doing
that.
that
the
right now.
state's medical director form is a lot more in-depth than ours. Our medical form is more of a forwarded motion for our REMAC stuff, where the state form actually has their level of care, all their different modalities that they're applying for, and a lot more.
then
Something that we really don't control.
we have, I guess it comes back to, because I don't think that we do. Where is there a policy, either a Mountain Lakes policy, either a REMSCO or a REMAC policy requiring agencies to submit to the Mountain Lakes REMAC REMSCO this 2-year renewal?
I think we have something.
Because that's, again, that's one of my things, we need to have this policy manual. And if we do have it, then should we refer it back to the REMAC to possibly get their recommendation to resend it? To me, if we're gonna go through this and we're not gonna have the ability to set those expectations and standards, you know, what is what's the impetus of any one of those 6 agencies or any of the other agencies to do anything? And the other thing, from a leadership perspective, I'll face it, a lot of our EMS leaders are overwhelmed as it is, have a whole lot of things. And if this is duplication, then let's take it off of their plate. Maybe the other thing that, you know, Zach could do is just very quickly ping half a dozen other regions and just say, do they do something similar to this or not? And if they don't, then maybe this is an old school thing that we don't need to do anymore.
Or guide submission of the paperwork, for example, give them, you know, I mean, I guess a leader leads by example, right? So if we say, look, some of the more successful, you know, people that successfully submit their paperwork timely, designate a particular person to do it every time it's up for renewal, or submit their paperwork at the same paperwork they're submitting to the state to Mountain Lakes at the same time, or give them tips and tricks to succeed and to guide them through it. Let's say, you know, this is what we require. You need to do it, or else we need to really give them a little push maybe. And I don't want to.
Can we ask Jonathan, or is this being done in the region? What's being done in the adjacent?
So in the North Country region, they approve them for their initial. The only thing that we do differently over here that you guys don't do is their REMAC has me go out and do ALS equipment inspections, where we inspect the ambulances to make sure they have the minimum equipment. While it's not we're not looking for anything regulatory, but we're still looking at anything that the region specifically requires for the ambulances to have. So the REMAC sets the minimum equipment list for an ambulance should have this much of a certain medication on. We go and check compliance with that. If we find any regulatory issues, we turn it over to the state because we don't have the teeth to do a regulatory issue.
So you guys don't approve them ALS wise?
Their initial approval, yes. And then moving forward, it's the state's. And the state
Dr.
is
Bumba-
actually now starting to do ALS equipment checks when they do your 800 checks when they come inspect you. Sorry, Tiff, I'll shut up.
I'm in no rush. I will say the one, I think, plus to keeping this system is it does make us look at all of these agencies every couple of years and discover possibly any problems that need to be addressed at the regional level. And I think without this sort of memory prompt to look at everybody, we don't have that level of thoroughness, I guess. But your point does not go unnoticed that if this is just all duplication, then it's all duplication. It is a big tug of war right now between the state and the regions. The state would like to have more control and take away our control locally. And they've made no bones about that in the last couple of years worth of CMAC and REMSCO meetings. And this seems to be part of that creep. So, you know, again, although they have ultimate authority, they also don't have local knowledge. And if you guys, when you're looking at these renewals, find a problem that you forward to the state, that might be a good thing.
Oh,
So when we submit our stuff to the state through the portal, does that go to you guys at the Fort John? How about if we just-
Most of the time. I don't want to say all the time, but I will say most of the time it does. They have a portal that submits everything, and sometimes it makes it through to us and sometimes it doesn't.
It should be, but yes.
So if that's already being done through there and you're essentially getting it most of the time, how about just making that list for this and bringing it up at the REMAC and saying, does anybody have, these have been renewed through the state, does anybody have issues with these?
Right, and these people,
Because they've already submitted the paperwork once and it's going to you,
why
why
do they need to?
duplicate it a second time?
I will say, I do think there is value to some of the data that we do pull, that the docs have requested for the renewals. The shoot times and things like that. I do think there is value. So if we look at it from a CQI standpoint, I don't think that's a bad thing for us to look at when that renewal paperwork comes in. Zach can pull the report of here is some ancillary data to go along with this renewal. So that way, if there are any issues, the region is catching them, because it is better for the region to catch the issues than it is for the state to catch the issues. The state is very punitive with everything lately. Where if we catch it at a regional level, we can get the medical directors involved, the REMAC involved, and say, hey, we've got a problem here. Let's try to cut this off before it becomes a bigger issue.
So I'm fine with that. I don't mind if we adjust that. I think when we adjusted our process to the process that we're at now, we lost a lot of our requirements, I guess, where we had that one page and it's like 5 questions of the narrative that's now kind of not in the application anymore. And that was a little bit more of what we're able to actually look at with the things. And now that it is a state submission, like I think we said, there's 5 things that's different that we actually asked for from agencies. So, I mean, yeah, they're doing their state stuff. That makes sense. I mean,
So what do we want to do then?
I mean,
Can
you can
we-
continue status as you're doing now. Just the challenge is we don't have the authority to take away.
Do we know if those agencies that had no response have submitted to the state their renewals?
We can look into it. The only challenge we'll have is with Long Lake and Indian Lake, because they're technically going through ARMS and REMO, even though they report to us too. So I would just have to check with Beth McGowan over in REMO to make sure.
It's on the state website. All the agencies and their expirations are on the state website.
Up to date?
By county, that's up to date, yeah.
There's a lot of the state website that's.
Go to that, there's a section. That's
yeah, the agencies are pretty regularly updated. The state would pull them essentially if they weren't, and we haven't heard from them doing that. So I would assume that they all did their renewals with the state, is my thinking with it. But yes, I'll absolutely, I'll write it down and I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure. Because there's also a couple too that I don't know if it's Indian Lake, I would put them on here. There was 1 or 2 on the list that actually aren't even due technically yet, because they're not up until the end of the month. So they would fall under our next meeting cycle, and they even already turned in their paperwork. So I do include the current month of agencies when we request the information, and some of them do and some of them.
So we do have a motion on the floor to approve the 3-month extension that was seconded with discussion, so either vote on that or rescind. We have to vote first on that motion. So the motion was month extension and was seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Just do it until we get it sorted.
And now we need to decide going forward if there's one in the process. What that would look. Does anybody have any motion, or do we want to
Say,
come up with more information.
Why don't you set up a committee? To at least bat it around a little bit, eh?
Okay.
I mean, I think the only stick is medical directors are the ones that, if they have a medical director, they don't have ALS or even certification, do they? But for sure ALS, correct? So, I mean, that's the only stick part of it. So I don't know, other than that, what else we can really do about it, or do we just say, okay, FC's looking at you?
Don't we see value in keeping track and helping agencies move through the process? I mean, I guess our role
Does
is,
that really come from this agency, or does
I
it
don't
come
know.
from the EMS coordinators, or does it come from the medical director?
probably more for REMAC, probably.
I think depends on what you're looking at. I mean, like submission of the state paperwork and that kind of stuff, is probably something that, the county can work on for the actual, agency renewals. I think the data points, I totally agree with Jonathan, but I don't think they should have to wait to every 2 years. Let's come up with a list of data points that agencies are required to submit annually. That's ideally what electronic PCRs are supposed to do, so we didn't have to do that on our own.
Right.
Yeah, laugh. But, come up with a series of 7 or 8 data points that from a CQI perspective are important, whether it's shoot times, on scene times, whatever it is that agencies need to upload. If you're looking at it and going back to what Zach was talking about from the, what you used to have to submit, maybe it's an annual narrative about, workforce. If you're a AEMT level agency, what was your frequency of having AEMT level coverage? Have you added, subtracted? Where's your workforce? I'm gonna look at those kinds of trends. Have you identified any, training gaps or those types of things? The other thing that could end up happening where that data may be even easier and take it off of the individual agency's hands is depending on what, where it goes with these state or these county EMS plans that everybody needs to, is going to need to generate by November. Maybe you roll that into some of those county plans, because those plans are going to have to come back to the council as well as the state. So maybe that becomes, you don't want to add an extra layer, but that way you're kind of guaranteed to get the data points that you need, and those data points can go back. They're also going to be used at the with them.
But, go back.
How do you ensure that we get those data points? What if you have an agency that says, yeah, I'm too busy to do this stuff? We just determined that we can't affect somebody's operating or ALS operating authority. I mean, it's great. Great data to have, but how do you enforce an agency to do that? If
But what I was thinking when you were saying those is that we do have deliverables that we need to be doing. If some of this is coming off, that we don't have to do it anymore, right? And instead we have to help the region with the deliverables, which could be any of that you just mentioned. Would it be easier for the agencies?
And I will say that 90% of the phone calls at our office fields are paperwork questions. How do I fill this out? Do you have a template for this? Do you have a template policy? So those are a lot of things that we're already doing for both regions. But I do think that my view on regions and program agencies and REMACs and the REMSCOs is that we are that protection buffer between the state and the agency. And our job is to help facilitate the agencies to be successful and to protect the providers at the end of the day. That's me on my mini soapbox, and I'll get off of it now. But that's my view of what all of our jobs are, is to protect our providers. If we can be the stopgap between the punitive state and maybe some re-education or just what we can do to help the agencies do better, then we're doing our job.
Okay, so we'll set up a committee to look into Lake's future involvement in ALS operating authority authorization then. If there's anybody interested in being on that committee with Mark, please let me know.
I would, but I think my term is up in a couple of months,
Well,
so.
that's okay. A good couple months active on.
What a way for, to go out, right?
It's only been a couple decades. that I-
Okay.
Okay, Zach, you want to reshare the screen and we'll rock it through the rest of this program agency report, and then you won't have to hear me talk for the rest of the meeting, hopefully.
You should see it.
I don't, but I can tell
We
what
do.
page you're on. So, all right, so New York State DOH policy statements. So there's 3 new policy statements that came out. 2507, which is EMS course funding update, which is important for the course sponsors in the room. The 2508 educational pilot funding. So that's just restatement of the educational pilot programs that the state has. And then 2509 is the supraglottic airway implementation for BLS practitioners, which is a fun read. Health commerce system, that's policy statement to get yourself set up in the health commerce system. All agency leaders should have a health commerce system account. Next. So PAD, we got a usage report from Washington County. No new applications, though I feel like we're going to have some updates coming in based on the phone calls that we got today. And then the quarterly reports that were received. BLS adjuncts and IGEL study applications. So I'm going to let Dr. Bombard speak a little bit more on this. So basically the steps to do it is you have to fill out a medical director, your agency has to fill out a medical director verification form. An agency policies and procedures plan has to be submitted. Quality assurance plan has to be submitted, and a training plan has to be submitted. It's all submitted through the state's portal. That all goes to the state. We get a notification at the region that that has been put in, which then prompts it to go to the REMAC for approval. And the REMAC has to approve the agency policies and procedures, quality assurance plan, and training plan. But Dr. Bombard, I think, is thinking of streamlining the process maybe a little bit. So I'm going to let her talk.
Granville actually put out a bunch of education and a QA plan and a training plan, all of this stuff they have already put together. So Zach and John have a copy of that. It was looked at by various REMAC members and they felt that it was pretty strong. So if you want to duplicate and edit, you're more than welcome to. But this was passed by the REMAC. So we do have REMAC approval of BLS IGEL. Again, as John said, it obviously needs approval from your medical director, and you need to do all the paperwork before you can launch.
Can you guys send that out to everybody?
Sure.
Please. And then
Yep.
it's that form right there that has all the check boxes for, to the state for what you're doing. I mean, there's a growing list.
And the goal is we'll have it on our website. I need to have like formal permission from Granville to be able to do it. But we will do a fillable PDF version of it and have it on our website, just in the resource library for agencies to be able to pull and use. PEC again, everybody should have a PEC coordinator. Next matters. So we have set up some satellite sites for Narcan delivery. If you are one of those sites and you're in this meeting and you want Narcan, you just need to tell me so I can schedule a delivery for your agency. If there's any other agencies that would like to, Storm, I know we've talked about it. If you just want to email me the address and the point of contact for the physical site, then I can have it set up tomorrow.
Because I've been getting mine from Bill because they apparently are getting pallets of it. So I've been getting mine from Morrisonville. And nobody's using it, so nobody's taking it out of the vending system, so it's okay. I don't know why. I don't know why you wouldn't use that and put it on for your basis. But
It's free. Training and
Most anything.
education. So the learning management system, we're still on track for uploading 2 trainings a month. And then Spring Fling is going to be April 16, 17, and 18 in Alex Bay. It is a fun time. They also combine it with their awards dinner, and they have a live band at the after party for that, and it's a lot of fun. CQI initiative. So you all know the gist of the CQI initiative. So we'll just go to the CQI initiative report. So this is the annual report for 2025. So I'll just highlight the Mountain Lakes agencies. So there were 39 agencies in Q1, 174 Mountain Lakes charts, 4 agencies with no chart uploads. We don't track specifically how many of those were from North Country, how many of them were from Mountain Lakes. Excuse me. And same with the 11 charts sent to the medical director. We are tracking it now, but we haven't tracked it in the past of how many were to each respective region. Q2, 38 Mountain Lakes, 151 charts reviewed. 8 agencies with no chart uploads, 2 charts that were sent to the agency medical directors. Q3, 38 in the Mountain Lakes, 167 charts, 3 agencies with no chart uploads, 5 sent to the agency medical director. And in Q4, there were 39 agencies, 148 charts reviewed, 9 agencies with no chart uploads, and 8 charts that were sent to their medical director. The agencies that are having no chart upload, there is a combination of issues with them. Some of them are software vendor issues. Others are, they're a Vermont-based agency, so they are writing the chart to Vermont standards, and then when it comes into the New York State schematron, it fails because the standards are so different. Some of them are extremely low volume agencies. In the Mountain Lakes or in the REMAC meeting, I referenced North Country has an agency on Wellesley Island that in the summer they have over 2,000 people that live there. In the winter, they are lucky to have 200 people live there. So usually December, January, they show no uploads into the system because they're so low volume at that time of year. And then the charts that are being sent to the agency medical directors, a lot of them are, if they're sent to the agency medical director, it's typically because there's some regulatory issues and we don't want it to go to the state. So we're hoping that the agency medical directors can nip it before the state catches on to it. We're seeing a lot of charts that in the narrative, they're documenting vitals performed, but they're not documenting the vitals in the chart.
Maybe an case issue with their computer.
And that's all I've got. Does anybody have any questions for the program agency? Is there anything data wise that I can make Zach do more for you? Okay, I'm done talking.
Okay, thank you. REMAC report, Dr. Bombard. Have anything else?
Hey, sorry. And I'm sorry, my dogs are bored and they're yelling. The only additional part of the REMAC that we haven't actually covered was a proposal to add transvenous pacemaker monitoring to the IFT guidelines. And that was from Samantha Smith up at Saranac Lake, and that was approved. So she's going to work on that guideline and some education in conjunction with the rest of the IFT guideline committee as needed and put those forward. So that should be pretty cool. Remainder of the IFT guidelines are all on the LMS, including the most recent ones, which were N-acetylcysteine and Keppra, levetiracetam. That's why they call it Keppra. I don't think I have any other updates from the REMAC. I think we covered everything.
Thank you very much. Anybody on from your medical?
No, I don't think so.
Great. We'll move on to coordinator reports. Start with Storm County.
Which one, QI reports?
County.
County reports.
County reports?
Yeah.
I don't have anything except that we are busy trying to get everybody's skill sheets in and get their stuff aligned. So that is my getting their stuff to the state paperwork portal for their CME research, because we're in that mission where we're like, we kind of went from 3 years to 4 years and people don't know who they are at this point. Like, look up your expiration date on your card. Please get to us early, because really, if we're gonna help you with it, I need you to send me your stuff early, not late. But that's really where my life has been buried, that and Mountain Lakes and CPR.
Essex County, Jody?
I'm still buried deep in our new stabilization plan. That's what I do all day long. I'm still learning what you guys, we do here. I don't have anything other than bread and water.
Stay afloat. Water. Franklin, Scott?
No big updates. We're starting to see some staffing issues. We haven't seen that in years. We are seeing throughout the county some staffing issues again. So that's it.
Warren County, Atla, there wasn't here, Ashley. Caleb, do you have anything you'd like to chime in?
No.
Washington County, Paul?
Anticipating this new reporting that we have to do for the county.
What, the new? Yeah. I have not gotten that for you.
Committee reports. Move on, there is an updated committee list that I think was attached. Or
I
somewhere,
think,
if not, it'll be sent out.
like, yeah, I'll send it out also, yeah.
Okay. Executive committee. Did have a meeting, January-ish with Brian Greenberg and Zach, Jonathan, executive committee. Obviously, the state is urging us to figure out if we can make Mountain Lakes work or not. I know we've all kind of struggled with this for a while now, and I don't think we definitely have an answer either way. I know I don't have one. They wanted us to have information back to them beginning of February-ish. Obviously, we've missed that mark.
What information do they want back?
I think they really wanted a decision if we were going to try to keep going or not. But I don't know is that we have enough information just yet about the taxes and such to make an informed decision on that. I don't know if you guys feel the same on that call. Do you have anything you want to add?
No, I agree. We got to get the non-for-profit status back before we can enter into a
And to
contract.
do that, we have to finish up our books. We have to close out our books for the last 4 years. So we haven't closed out. So Travis never closed out 22 and 23. So we're gonna start there. I'm calling QuickBooks and they're gonna help me close that piece out. And then we'll do 23 or 24 and 25. And then we would have that to work on our taxes. Then Jonathan, you sent me a thing about compliance. Something about forgiveness of compliance about submitting the stuff. So I have that sitting on my desk and we'll work on that as soon as, but we have to finish up the books, I think, before I can do anything going forward. So that is my goal in the next couple of weeks, is to work with them kind of on an every other day basis till we get this done. I don't know what it takes to do that because I've never used that functionality. But hopefully it will not take much once they get it situated. So hopefully they can really give me an expert who can work with me and work through that process. And that's really what we need to do. I think once we get the books closed, then we can look for, forgiveness for our
For not filing.
Yeah, for our being able to be compliant with the stuff that we needed to do. So I think that that's the piece that we need to get finished up. So that's my goal now that I've got, the rest of it. And remember that if you're sitting on the systems committee, and I'm gonna say this because I'm not gonna have a lot of time to do this if I'm working on the QuickBooks, I'm gonna need people to review the application, so we have at least one more application for an no. Jonathan, what is, Keene Valley?
Transfer.
That's a transfer, right?
Yep,
So
you'll have,
that's a-
actually, you're gonna have two more transfers, Wilmington and Keene Valley.
And I don't know where Wilmington is. I sent their paperwork back to them because it was totally inadequate. They didn't even know where to begin filling it out. So I sent it back with a checklist to them to be able to do that. So if somebody can take, like, I don't mind sending you out all the stuff that's required to do it, but I don't really have time to sit down and look through every single application. I don't. And hopefully this will be the last, right? Does anybody know of anybody else who's thinking of transferring or moving their agency somewhere else?
So I'll be interested to see what happens with, with us approving, ordinance.
Right, because we may get a bunch more. Which would be fine. I mean, I think that would be easy if we could get them to all come together and come up with a plan.
So the systems committee right now is Storm, Patty, Craig, Jack, Timms, who's not here, and Paul. That's who's on the committee at this, just so everybody.
Yeah, so, we just need to stay on top of it. If I send you, and I tend to, like, if you don't send me back an email, like some people I've never gotten emails from, so it's like just send me an email to know that you got it and are at least looking at it. So that I know whether you've at least included yourself in this. Like, don't come to me later and say, we didn't have a committee meeting. Well, you didn't participate. Why would I can send you stuff, but if you don't participate and you don't give me feedback, I can't do anything.
So I
I
think,
can't be the only person.
Don't worry about it. Go ahead.
I think that, because we do respond,
So, yes, Patty and Paul will always be fine.
yeah, I think if we can then, once we look at it, I think it's really important that we just do a quick online meeting, because
Yeah,
just so that we're doing it appropriately, and there is a motion coming out of committee, and
this is important. This is one of our responsibilities.
it's a big deal. If it gets down to the state, then it's a
Yeah.
really big deal,
Yeah.
so.
Scott?
I just want to go back to the financials. So
Yeah.
Storm and I talked and talked. So 50C3 to regain, I've done one. It takes 3 years. So I just want to put that out there for everybody. It'll take 3 full years. And that was a long time ago. So that might be longer right now through IRS.
Yes,
Yeah, so that's a long.
we need to ask that question.
Do
Well-
we own QuickBooks?
We,
We are buying it monthly. Yeah.
I can help you with.
Oh, good.
and this is where we've been for 3 years now,
Yes.
waiting for QuickBooks to help us straighten
Right,
out
to get
files
stuff
and order
out.
for us to submit. This
No, I
is
just need
not,
6 more hours in my day. I'll be fine.
yeah, I mean, no, but I mean, QuickBooks didn't come through for us before we reached out to them.
You're right. I mean, once QuickBooks gets into it, and if Scott knows it, then between them and Scott and myself, maybe we can clean these up fairly quickly.
Yeah, I use it.
Yeah, so whatever.
Is the
No,
information
it's
in
in the-
QuickBooks for the last however many years we've been paying for it? Or is there not any information in QuickBooks?
There's all sorts of, the only information that's in QuickBooks. So there was a lot of stuff from before. So when Travis and Vanessa had it, there is stuff up until 2022. I'm not sure what month they stopped putting stuff in, but it was just before COVID got done, right? I think it was just before COVID got done, they stopped. And then 2023, they didn't put anything in until I started using it. I want to say in December, or either December of 24 or January of 25. No, must have been December of 23. I don't know. I'd have to look at, I'd have to go back and look at my photos and look at my thing. So we just need to get it consolidated and get it done so that we can use that information to make our books and do our taxes. Because you can use the information to do your taxes once you get it collated and stuff where it belongs. So when I paid, so in QuickBooks, Ashley. She left. So Ashley and Jack Chims were instructor coordinators for courses. They were in as both contractors and as employees. So I paid them as contractors because we don't pay instructors, we don't pay their taxes, right? We've never done that that I'm aware of. At least that's not what I'm seeing there. It's hard to know, but that's what I'm presuming. So they got paid as contractors so that we don't, they're not employees of ours. They're actually contractors instead of employees. And that's an important distinction. So why they were both places, I'm not
I
sure.
think,
And why they would have done that.
no, I think it was both, because I think a CIC for a course, the course coordinator was a W-2.
Right.
And then all of the ancillary staff were 1099s.
And see, you
So
can't steal that from,
So if I did if I CIC if I ran a course, I was a W-2. But if I helped out, if I went to Paul's class and did a lab, I was 1099 for that. So that's probably why you were in this both.
why it's so confused. But why would you then, well, okay. So Ashley was in both places.
What was the last year we filed taxes? 2000.
2018. Yes. So we have this stuff. I'm hoping for that.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, so if we haven't submitted a 90 form since 18, we have fines. Not 18 forward.
So we'll get together in the next week, so this week coming up, and to get that stuff organized so that I can move forward with it, because I can't until I get that done.
Right. Yeah.
I,
For all those fines.
but just,
Oh, the lady who's doing the books at the time.
all right. Where we are.
So, Fort Drum also submitted a W-9 to Northwell for $6,000. Or
It was for all of your, is the bridge program.
Send them a W-9 form.
Well, they said they didn't get it. So then they also, apparently, probably the issue was the W-9 had the old, address on it because the check came back as undeliverable. Because we got a scan of the check with the old address on it. So a new check is being issued. It will be mailed to our office and then I will mail it to you, Storm.
I just used the old one. I just used the one I had. Okay. All right, so are you gonna send that check to us, or is that?
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna pocket your money. I will send it to you. Don't worry. I just don't have it yet.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, because Jerry sent me and asked me where to send it, and I told him to send it to my office email address so that I could put it in the education fund. And then we have to figure out what we're gonna do with all the education fund. How much was the check for?
$6,000.
$6,000? Yeah. That's about right.
So are all these workers now paid?
No, we still have the little piddly amount, so we don't have email addresses for everybody.
so I'm taking
But
that
I'll take
over
that.
and I'm gonna work
Maybe
So
on
why
it.
can't we use some of that 6,000 to pay these people?
There is money already allocated for all of those.
Send the instructor.
amounts. This one again was paid off today, the next largest. They've both been paid.
Right.
So I'm gonna contact all the,
We actually have $3,700 left to pay off instructors with. In addition to the money we'll get from Northwell Health. That's so we get money from Northwell Health for the bridge program. So I've been running their lab and their, what is the other thing? And their final practical skills exam.
And
So
and what is that being ran under? Which one of the three entities?
it's run under REMSCO.
Not
Under
the,
the-
not the Ed Corp, right?
No, the Ed Corp doesn't exist really
Okay.
in theory. It does not exist anymore. Yes, so it's under REMSCO.
Okay,
So things that were purely REMSCO, like the AHA is purely REMSCO.
okay.
Okay. All right. Now, unfortunately, I did not copy the treasurer's report for you, but I'll go ahead and give it to you. So currently, we actually look pretty good. The CON is got all the money it needs and there, I'm just waiting for people to clean this stuff up so we can get it done. So as soon as we will finish up Fort Ann, as soon as I get the ARII report from them and then send that to the state. That one will be done. And then we still have Silverno and we have the money from Keene Valley. No, we have the money from Wilmington. I don't think we have the money from Keene Valley yet. I'll have to look. But I don't.
No,
remember
you
seeing
wouldn't
that.
have the money from Keene Valley yet. They haven't submitted anything formal.
Right, right. Yeah, and I don't know how long it will take Bruce to get his paperwork done and resubmitted to us. But
So
his
that
money,
applications, so what I get is a call from Dan saying, did that application go back? So that one's gone back to Wilmington
yes, I
Okay.
sent it back to
with what he
Bruce.
needs to do?
with what he needed to do. So I sent him the checklist of what it needs to include.
Okay, and then for Silvano, I'm actually getting close to saying this name, I'm just saying it so much. I kind of sort of gave you guys the checklist of what needed to be
Mhm.
done. Did that go back to Holly?
Goes back to Holly with what's not done based on what,
But did it go back to her?
yes,
That would be what the question would be
yes,
from
the
me.
question goes back to her.
Okay, so it has gone back.
It hasn't gone back. This one has not gone back
Okay.
yet, not yet.
Okay,
So, because we just decided on Friday that it wasn't complete.
okay.
All right, so let's go back to the Wilmington one. I had a question for the state, and maybe some of you here can answer it for me. Because this was very confusing when I looked at their application. They're going from a municipal service to a municipal service. I'm not sure how they do that. Jonathan, any thoughts?
So they're going from the town certificate to the fire department certificate?
Yeah, it's just a change of the authority of jurisdiction. That's easy. As I assume the fire department is a fire district, correct?
Fire department was the district, yes.
Are they?
That's my,
They're a fire district. Okay.
Yeah, so
And
it's
could-
going from one municipal entity to another municipal entity. It's a TOA. It's doable.
all right, fire department is considered a municipal entity.
So long as they are not a municipally owned fire department by like a village or town. If they are a fire district, that is different than,
Double check, but I'm sure
Have their own commissioners, and they're not a fire protection district, that's the only thing. That up,
they do have their own. They're just.
yeah,
So what is it?
it's a fire district.
So it's a fire, yeah, I know it was fire district. So they're considered a municipality.
Yes.
Okay. That's what I need to know. All right.
Okay, so let's go back to the finance.
So, all right, so let me go back to finance. So currently, the main account has little over $3,000 in it. The education account has little over 3,700. The AHA account has 9,500 in it, $9,500 in it. So we have money to work with and money to pay bills and money to be able to do this. We paid for our general liability insurance. We paid off our workers' comp insurance. We paid off Fort Drum in the last 2 months. Because we're already at the end of the other month. And so we're looking pretty good. We are gonna lose some money on some CPR cards because of the way they did, and I need to sit down and write up a list of things that we normally, like, we use or we don't use. So we have Adobe as a regular monthly charge. It's $32.09. Do we need to keep it, is my question. We could. We have Believe Studios. And we pay for Zoom. All right, we don't need to necessarily pay for Zoom. If we could use Teams, right? We could use, I don't know how many of you, I prefer Zoom, but I don't really care. All right. So those are standard bills. And then we have our QuickBooks, which as soon as I get debit cards in place, I'm going to switch over to a debit card so that it doesn't come off my charge card anymore. All right. That's how that's going to work. So I'm going to get debit cards for, the AHA account already has one. I'm going to get one for the main account. And I'm going to get one for, I don't think I need to get one for education unless you guys can think of a reason where we will have other debts for education. And I don't mind getting one because I don't mind doing debit cards, but I won't use charge cards. We're not using charge cards. It's too easy to get yourself into all sorts of trouble. Debit cards are
Correct.
simple.
And we're not
Out
gonna
of your-
use your personal cards.
I
mean,
want to get rid of
going-
my personal accounts out of the system.
Yes. Going
Okay.
forward, we will only be using the debit
Yes.
cards. Yeah.
As we pay things off.
And can't think.
And I think it's important because it's easy, because if you order something, like ordering the AHA stuff, the cards and stuff is easy because I can use the debit card and then I have them like right there, and then I can issue your cards for you.
Can't
Really
things
quick and easy.
be like bill paid?
Huh?
The account? Can't you set up like a bill pay out of the account?
I can't hear you. You're gonna have to speak up a whole lot.
She said, can't you set up a bill pay out of the account, like out of the,
Out of your
But it's
checking?
not, well, I could out of,
The
I
checking
could
account.
for QuickBooks. I probably could. I could set up an automatic payment system.
You can for almost anything nowadays.
Oh.
I mean, depending upon the bank, depending upon
Yeah.
the organization.
And I
You can
think
either,
if
you can
we
either
forward-
do like a checking from the wherever you're paying.
Yeah, so what-
Or you can send it from your bank account.
In the accounts to be able to accommodate payments.
Mhm.
So the
Most-
AHA money currently is, for whatever reason, they haven't moved it yet, have not moved it to dumping into the AHA account. So I need to get that done tomorrow. On my little tickle list to do. And then, that will clear up that one where I'm now having to move it from education, because that's where it always dumped before, was into education.
Debit card is
Instead of HA.
to put on the end.
So, I've adjusted the accounts a little bit. We'll have to get those cleaned up too. I think that's gonna be the.
Do we have an electronic pay policy? And if not, we better get one if we're gonna be paying anything with either directly out of our account or using a debit card,
Okay.
anything like that.
Okay,
Absolutely. I mean, I'm surprised our insurance company hasn't mandated it.
I have a template one that I can probably make to suit your guys' needs. I can send it over to Vicky, Storm, and Mark. I won't say tomorrow, but I can have it to you this week.
all right. Good.
have we had any contact with the IRS since
With who?
2018 that we know of, or?
No.
Get letters in the mail.
So can we circle back to that, Vicky? You want to keep things general?
Go ahead.
Because it goes back to your first committee report. And I don't want to be the bad guy here or whatever. But to go back to the meeting that we sat on with the director about the direction, the future of this organization. We are now 9 years behind in taxes. So, I mean, listen, it's water over the dam at this point, right? I mean, we had paid staff employees up until 2022 and 4 years without paying taxes. That's criminal in my opinion. But we won't go down that road.
Yeah.
But we're 9 years without paying taxes. We're at best case scenario after we get those done, 2 to 3 years before we get our non-for-profit status reinstated. My guess at best, you're talking 3 to 4 to maybe 5 years before we would be in a position as an organization to contract with the state. God only knows where the state's going to be at that point. I mean, I think that, this is, listen, I don't want Mountain Lakes, I've been a Mountain Lakes provider for 38 years. I really don't want to see Mountain Lakes go. I think it's a very unique council. It's got a unique demographic. I think we do things the way we do them here because it works. I think there's a whole lot of common sense that's deployed here that's not deployed in other councils or across the state. And listening to some of the horror stories from some other REMSCOs around the state, I don't think we've ever had them outside of a few people maybe taking money here, taking money there.
Okay.
But, well, and one of them may or may not have ended up in a Canadian prison. Anyhow,
But he was a good court.
but the reality of it is, gang, is we're in a predicament. And the credit to the three of you that have been sitting there 4 years, and to add Paul to that mix, and Tammy, you've been here for a very long time as well. We've done the best that we can, but even Storm, even if you put 40 hours a week into this for the next 6 months, and God only knows what the penalties are gonna be. We can ask for forgiveness for all we want. It's gonna be more than $6,000 we've got in the bank.
I'll make a motion, I don't want to cut you off, but I'll make a motion that the chair, that we empower the chair to contact, not that we don't want you to, Storm. To contact us.
Contact who, I'm sorry.
That you contact the IRS.
Sorry.
As an official. Tomorrow. Again, just contact the IRS and just see what the balance is, because we clearly have penalties. It's just an information point for the next meeting, just to see where we're at. We'll go back to Mark. Didn't mean to cut you off. Put that motion on the floor.
Okay, so there's been a motion on the floor with a second. Is there any discussion on that motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And is there any reason why we can't file 2018 through 2022? I mean, if,
filed.
no, I know, but can we do that now? Like, we don't have to wait for
Oh, I have to look
24,
at
25.
books. I don't know. Did they ever close those books out? I don't know that.
And
I mean, he did taxes in 2018 is the last place we can find taxes for.
And we don't have enough money to ask an accountant to help us through this process. Because
I don't know that. It would depend on what they would be willing to do it for.
at this point, I think that's our only rescue, right? They can, a professional organization
I'd
wrap
take
this
a look
up.
at the books first and see where we are.
I think.
And then we'll look around and see what we've got for accountants who might work for us for nothing. Like H&R Block was gonna do it, but then they gave up because they couldn't figure it out.
That's comforting.
Huh?
That
was very interesting.
I
I
think-
was like.
I
you can't figure
have
it out.
to
You
agree with you.
said it's easy.
We need to just take it out of our hands. We're not,
Yeah.
we're not,
Jonathan, that from a program agency perspective, is there money? Is there money from the state that we can use to leverage to be able to, go out to a third party, get an accountant, and it's gonna have to be kind of a forensic look
Yeah.
into all of this.
Money directly from the state, probably not, because you're not under contract and you're not contract compliant. That's where the issue, I guess, comes in.
Nothing from the program agency perspective, then.
No.
and we aren't friends enough with Vanessa to reach back out and say, hey, Vanessa, you've looked at these before, you know the organization, you know how QuickBooks look. What would you charge us to clean this up? Because,
Essentially, it's recommended you have an accountant anyway.
but I mean,
Um,
Vanessa's done it,
Yes,
right?
because they know QuickBooks and they know how to maneuver it, but, if between Scott and I and Fort Drum, maybe we can get it cleared up. And then we can go to the expert at QuickBooks and say, tell us where you think we are and what you think we need to do to fix this. Because that's the other question for them.
I don't believe Fort Drum is able to assist us with the books in
Mhm.
any way right now.
And they didn't want to anyway. We've already asked.
They have. to
If there
be
was an
taken out.
audit complete, then we would entertain it. But that is
Right.
what I've been told.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll kind of echo what you were saying, Mark. And I brought this up in our last meeting, that my biggest concern is the taxes. We don't have the financial capability to hire a CPA to go through this, or a forensic scientist. So we're getting to the point where we gotta, excuse the expression, but pooper it out the pot. Gotta move forward. Either dissolve this or really put everything forward to resolving it. And I don't know what the answer is, but we definitely need to do something, because we're already looking at 2018. How much further are we gonna go ahead?
So is it fair to say that we put, I don't want to say actual effort, but a big push on to try to find answers to some of these questions? And we'll have to, at the next meeting,
Make a decision.
hopefully have a clearer vision if this is even possible. Because we can't just use the saying, kick the can down the road another
Another time.
3 years or 5 years, because we're
Right.
not, and the states, I don't think is gonna accept
Right.
that path anyways.
I think your IRS balance is your starting point, because we'll never get a 501c3 status back with it. But I've seen 994 fines before, like a 6-month fine is $2,500. So a 9-year fine is, I don't know.
And I think the state's losing pay.
The other thing, and I don't know if there's any, do any of us own any personal liability for any of it, being on the board, being the board of this council? Does it in any way, shape, or form impact any of us? I don't know the answer. I would hope not, but who knows?
I believe you have directors and officers insurance. Correct me if I'm wrong, Storm, but I believe you guys do. So that does cover.
Yeah, we have today.
This year.
And I made sure. that-
Let's hope.
I paid that one.
We just.
You have.
If the IRS balance is huge, which it may be, and you can negotiate, that can't be negotiated down, so at least negotiate it down, that's the answer.
We've acted on all the motions that were brought forward, correct? Any more discussion? Not trying to just shut this down. I mean, we can still talk. Compliance and audit, Mark just newly got put in charge of that.
Yeah, and I think that maybe what we'll do is as soon as you get that IRS number, then we'll call a compliance and audit committee meeting together virtually. Take that.
It's a very good question.
I have that here.
So it's Amy.
Good job.
Glad you asked.
When is my last meeting?
Not this month. So, Jody, Craig, Pat Mellon, and Mark are on the compliance and audit committee.
Is Pat Mellon still a member? I mean,
Yeah.
That just came on.
He's a
Why we
county
don't-
clerk.
Oh, we can't. Okay. Never mind.
Or have them.
Oh, we just haven't seen him.
It's maybe a good impetus to get the entire council to the next meeting as well, as to put a plan away and listen. We will be making, or not making, but having serious discussion about the future of the council. But everything else aside, and be it this one.
I put that out early. So people can fix their schedules. They won't fill up as quick.
I know emails can be, but maybe worth, not to put more work on Zach, but maybe worth actually talking to somebody on the phone saying, look, this is important.
I mean, I'm willing to make phone calls to anybody and everybody, I guess, who wants to listen. To try to urge folks to be a little more active, the ones that aren't always here and representing, and that they show up. I'll personally invite them to the next meeting. If that is appropriate for everybody.
Yeah.
You want me to make sure that we have state representation there too, to get Ryan or even Steve to be on it?
I want Ryan. Steve.
Yes, thank you.
I'm with you there, Tammy.
Okay, next up is awards. That's not here. The awards committee is Brandon, Jody, Todd, Pat, and Adrian.
I think the biggest thing is, I think I put on there May 1st. They're due May 1st.
Yes, submissions are due by May 1st, and it needs to be submitted through the COH portal. We had a couple from last term, correct?
Yeah, I think there was 3 from last term, and we'll look at those with these ones that we get.
Sorry.
So May 1st, and that way we can, because our meeting is in May again, so then we can talk about them at our May meeting.
So who submits them to the portal?
Anybody and everybody.
Okay, and then it gets kicked back to the committee?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So reach
They'll
out,
come, yeah, they'll come to us.
Members be encouraged, be like sending out communication, or is that coming from you? Okay.
We just put something in for the North Country one this week in our newsletters.
Okay,
Probably be a week or two, but eventually we'll push it out, but
okay,
yeah.
like,
and I
I
think
just
it's.
didn't
Tell your agencies.
yeah,
that
of course.
They're
We need
putting
to
in nominations.
push that.
A real,
Word nominations for the.
Can we do it as something other, in addition to the newsletter though, like an email out to everyone? Because
We can do
I'm not
that.
sure all my folks look at. I do. Sure, everybody else.
Yeah, I don't care. Or, does it bother me? I'll send it out.
And nominating committee. Annual elections were held late, so the next meeting is actually elections again. But I guess that depends on if we vote early to continue or not, but, yeah. So the nominating committee is Brandon, Stephen Miller, Todd Collins, Caleb White, and Adrian is chair.
what am I sharing? I don't want to go.
So happens with what?
I'm done in May, so,
Nomination committee.
okay.
To make a nomination to keep the current slate of officers for another year. Wait. Vote. I make that motion.
I'll second, only because you're gaining momentum,
Right.
and let's keep that, that's just my opinion, keep that going.
Kind of when I saw that
Coming from my job, I will vote in favor.
same thing, I mean.
Just kidding. Makes sense.
We're supposed to vote next month. I mean, we literally just voted, so we might as well keep the same slate of officers. Unless one of the officers wants to be done, which of course, I wouldn't want to lock somebody in if they didn't want to. But that's the only thing I would say to discuss motions.
We made a motion, so they have no option.
So your motion again is to,
Keep the current slate of officers without elections this year. The recent election, and Patty second.
all in favor of said motion,
Right.
opposed?
Easy.
That's so much fun.
You're stuck now.
I do think though. So Tammy's term will be up in June, so in May, if you have another person that you want, Storm.
I have one.
Um,
Sent it to you.
Essex County has a vacancy still, so Jody, if you have somebody that you want, and
What was our vacancy?
I think that's.
Sort of gone, is that all right? So we should talk. Bring someone. You? Oh, okay.
No, that was to, yes, we can talk.
Okay, cool.
Back when is Adrian's term?
May.
Listen,
Yeah, so Adrian also will be up, her second term will be up.
Adrian, you were on that.
I'm going to October.
John's not here, Jack's not here, but
That's
his
not
first
mine
term would
too.
be up, so if you wanted a second
four
term,
terms.
uh, Patty, your first term is up, so if you want a second term, that's up to you.
I'll do a second term, but
Then you're done. Yeah, okay.
You get to a certain.
She said that's.
have to be off.
I think this has been 4 double terms for me
Yeah, you have to be off once you get.
for 1 year.
Well, for 1 year and then back on again.
Right.
Yeah,
We're right
4
back.
times.
Wow. Hey,
At least.
a lot of years.
Been here forever.
Yeah, well, you're the county coordinator, so you have to go. That's why you had.
So moving right into personnel committee with that, we've already discussed the vacancies, 2 were filled. Didn't realize.
I didn't have the agenda, I skipped ahead.
Like this.
6 counties already been discussed that there's a vacancy there that will be filled. So we'll move on to education committee, Paul.
No sponsor, so.
Okay. True. AHA Storm, I know you've talked.
Our classes are going, so we have a basic and a refresher going. We have an AMT course going. That's about it. I don't think we're gonna do much. I'm working on getting my CIC back. Cause I let it expire like a bad girl. I was just, January 31st, it's like, I was way in the midst of other things.
I know.
Like, my God.
I know.
Any of the other course sponsors have anything?
No, we have 3 courses running and a new instructor in Franklin County. It's in the room.
Hey, good deal.
Yeah, possibly.
Perhaps say no.
No one in this room knows that.
4 double terms.
You should have been easy, should.
You have to
Especially with
go,
Issue with that education.
CIC, right, or CLI, who we just put through.
Mhm.
Matt,
Yeah.
CLI, and we've got 2 more on the horizon put through on our side, so.
Takes a.
Just
Okay.
Fact finding exploratory committee, I think we touched base on that a little earlier, that we'll all bring some facts back next meeting. Old business. Is there any old business that we have not already touched upon that anybody would like to discuss? New business?
I have one thing.
Go ahead.
I don't know if people are aware of it, but if the CIC is not affiliated with an agency, and I don't know about you, but I see a lot of CME stuff go across my desk to sign off on. There has to be some type of an MOU, which I have, Sarah sent it to me, an MOU or you call it something else. So like for an example, I in the CIC, but don't belong to Screw Lake, but I sign off on their paperwork once I review it. There has to be either an MOU or some other document between the agency and the CIC to have them
Right, I
Link
have
together.
that by agencies.
Yeah.
well, I had never done that. I've just signed.
Well, that
paperwork.
was a long
I mean,
time.
not just signed it, but looked at it, signed it. But just putting it out there,
Yes.
everybody who comes to me, they know they gotta bring their certificate stuff. Let me just say that. I'm just putting it out there that the state is looking for agreements now.
It's an
If you
affiliate.
you're not a member of that agency.
My memo goes.
Sunstorm's gonna be on the roster of every agency in Clinton
I
County.
know, well, that's like down.
There it is.
Any other new business?
I just wanted to let you know, I did just hear back from Director Greenberg, and if he can't be in person, he will be virtual for the next meeting for you guys.
Josh Leduc is on from UVM.
sponsorship.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that, Josh. Do you have any information
Sorry
from
about that.
UVM?
I was fumbling with my phone. UVM's still running 2 paramedic original courses. We just finished up a paramedic upgrade for Mike Weller. Mark, he's emailed you a couple times to see if you could just do a quick preview of that. If you could just finish that up so we can finish his upgrade.
Okay.
We have another intern who just went through with our paramedic original, Matt Radow, who is now is off to regional faculty so that he can be upgraded to a full paramedic IC. Course is full this year. Still have 24 students in our outgoing course who should finish up in the next 2 months. And we're planning to run a summer daytime course to get some IC records for a couple of our ICs on staff who need CIC numbers, courses of record. Other than that, program's going well and continues to grow and improve.
Thank you very much. New business?
I have one last thing. So you will be seeing, hopefully in the relatively near future, as soon as it is approved by the Division of EMS, a regional recruitment and retention initiative that will be coming out. We have funds that are tied to our office as it's a new contract deliverable for us. And we'll be really engaging some of the course sponsors in your region to partner with us on that. And also, fingers crossed that this gets approved, we will be rolling out the paramedic scholarship funding, which allows us to send 2 paramedics to paramedic school, or 2 EMTs to paramedic school for the up to $10,000. If the paramedic program that they're going to does not cost the full $10,000, that additional funding between the $10,000 and whatever their tuition was, we're going to be allowed to use that to help supplement other costs like books and travel to labs and clinicals and things like that. So fingers crossed, it's all pending Division of EMS approval, but this has been probably the last 6 months of my life have been hell, because I've probably done 20 different drafts of this to get it to where we could get it internally approved here with our audit processes. And now it's at the state. So fingers crossed they approve it and I don't have to change it a whole bunch more times, and we'll actually be able to roll out funding for this current year that we're in. And that's all I've got.
Along that same line, as I mentioned at the REMAC meeting, the last bridge to paramedic starts March 5th. I think Ryan was saying it's single digits, but I think it's like 16. So after that, there's no avenue to bridge anywhere. So you're either gonna go back to an A, or you'll be in a refresher or a paramedic program. With, and I guess I give a standing, but there's still a lot of stuff that you have to,
We
plus
have
it's
challenged the
10,000.
paramedic. If they have a challenge, let's do it. Every advanced course is supposed to have a challenge.
Right. Josh can explain that more better. The cost, there's still $10,000 cost.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
so Josh, can you explain how, advanced standing-ish works in your program?
So advanced standing within the accredited program that UVM is operating still requires all program graduates to complete all requirements of the SMC set forth by COA, which means they need to have all the appropriate patient contacts, all the appropriate skills documented. The skill numbers are very, very low. Minus intubations, they'll have to get 10 intubations through the program, but the skill patient contacts, they'll still be required through either clinical or field time as part of the upgrade. Our advanced standing mostly limits them from didactic time, so they won't have to come to all the lectures, only things that they don't challenge out of on a challenge exam for the advanced standing portion. And that includes an exam, meeting with the medical director, meeting with myself and the medical director, where we all come to an agreement. These are what we can opt you out of. These are where we can reduce your numbers. And this is what you did on your challenge exam.
And that
So-
cost was,
Is it still
Same. Same as the
That whole-
$11,000 that everyone else pays. However, I have added in opt-outs for the technology. So they can opt out of getting the iPad, they can opt out of getting the textbooks. If they are like, well, I already have one from another course. Trying to make it a little bit more agreeable. I still have to get that through my advisory board in April, that I'm gonna start keeping tuition at our $11,000 mark, but offering people not to get the technology, not to go the textbook package that we offer. See if they want to reduce it and find it on their own much cheaper, or agencies can get them and reuse them year after year.
Thank you very much for that.
Not a problem.
Meeting dates are listed, obviously. May 18th is our next meeting. Mark it in your calendar right now. I'll be here. Does anybody else have any other new business? Not, we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.